What's going on, eaters and feeders? I wanted to make a video on COVID-19 tips, things you should be considering as a meal prep company. I do want to apologize in advance. While going through the editing, I realized that it's going to be a bit grueling. It's not the most lively video I've done. I did film it about, I think, 2:30 in the morning or so, so forgive me for what's about to follow this. But it is some good information, definitely some stuff worth sharing. I actually don't really remember recording it. I remember writing down a list and don't remember saying any of this stuff, but some good stuff. Before we get started, I'll tell you about some of the stuff I cover, actually. I talk about CRMs, I talk about phone systems, I talk about working remotely, I talk about a company called CallSprout. I'm going to put those links in, put a link to them below. Also talk about Hubspot, the CRM we use, and menu design. A lot of things to consider. So before we get started, subscribe, hit the alerts, make sure they're all on so you don't miss anything that I put out, and check out the links. The private group, I've decided during this whole COVID thing, I'm actually going to lower the price. It's normally $20 a month. I'm going to drop it to $5. I'm going to put a coupon or something like that below. If that coupon's deleted, that means the COVID pandemic has been lifted. And if you're watching this video then, congratulations for surviving the apocalypse. And I apologize that the deal is no longer there and the price is back to normal. But while that's going on, while that coupon's there, $20 drops down to $5. And yes, if you're an existing member and you're at $20 or $10 or whatever the other prices are, you can take advantage of it, drop down to $5. And yeah, hopefully we can keep that group as a great source of information for everyone, myself included. And yeah, that's it. Subscribe, check out the website. Also in the links below, along with getting access to the private group, there's Bootcamp, there's an EBook, there's an order tracking system, and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely check that out. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to our channel where we go behind the scenes for meal plan company Fit Food Fresh and other local businesses across South Florida. Make sure you hit the subscribe and alerts so you never miss a video, and hit us with any questions or suggestions.
So you've got a meal prep business, or you've decided to start a meal prep business in the middle of a global pandemic. Well, congratulations. I'm in it with you, and it's definitely a challenge, but I think that it's a worthwhile endeavor. There's a lot of people who are in need of this service, and now more than ever, people are turning to meal prep businesses to not just trim their waistline or save some time, but potentially save their lives. So this is definitely a very serious business. It's still, can be a lot of fun, and there's some great experiences that we're having day to day, but there's also some real things that I want to discuss with you guys, because it would help you not only avoid some mistakes, but possibly allow less people to get infected, or help less people get infected, I should say. So let's jump right into it. First thing, we're a meal prep company, right? What do we sell? We sell food. Well, really, we sell time. But the thing on the menu that engages our audience, that starts the relationship, is the food, right? That's what we deal in. Even though you guys know we really sell time and convenience, right? So first thing we're going to talk about is 165 degrees Fahrenheit is, from what I understand, the temperature at which this virus can be killed. So as long as the food is being heated to 165, both during the cooking process and then ideally right before your member is going to be eating it, it should be safe to eat. Now, that means that you may want to avoid any items that aren't heated. We still have unheated items like baked goods on the menu, as well as our cold menu item, which is basically salads, wraps, cold noodle bowls, things like that, things that aren't going to be heated. You wouldn't put a salad in the microwave, right? Well, that means it's not really going to be as safe as the heated meals. So we're discussing internally what the reality would be like if we removed the cold items temporarily, and possibly have to alter it's just a menu category. We do like 12 a week, I think. So it would take a chunk out of the menu. We've got over 100 other items for people to choose from, though. The big drawback is going to be for our first responders. A lot of cops, firefighters, paramedics, EMTs work out of their vehicles, so they don't have access to a microwave. They just have a cooler, and a lot of them, that's why we started the cold menu item, actually. Funny side story, way back when, we didn't have a cold menu. At the time, we didn't really care about wraps. They were difficult to do because, as many of you guys probably know, they just go soggy with most ingredients that you're going to have in them after a few days. Wraps just don't do well. We do have them on the menu now. There are some tips and tricks, and maybe I'll go over that in some other videos on how to make wraps last longer. They're still not great after 3 days, in my opinion, but I digress. The whole reason that we started the cold menu was because of police. We got a connection with some police. We were going to, they were very upset. We had a key person with the sheriff department who was very upset with the way they were being treated at another company that's no longer around. And their one thing was, we'd love to come to you guys, but, it has to be cold items. So fun little story, maybe not, but if you guys want to approach first responders, technicians, people who work out of their car, that's going to be something that they're going to enjoy. So by us removing it, we're worried about how many of them are going to have to feel like they have to find something elsewhere. How many are going to be okay with just eating a cold chicken parm? Still pretty good, right? So we're going to see what we can do as far as coming up with a solution for them. We don't want to lose them. We don't want them to go through drive-throughs, but if they, if they have to eat something cold and we remove it from the menu, I don't know how many options we really have. They're not willing to eat the other items. Anyway, baked items, snacks, those can be changed. We can make it to some, turn it into something that has to be heated to enjoy it. Whereas right now, brownies and things like that, you wouldn't be heating past 165. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. It's been a very long month. So forgive me. So I can't think of anything off the top of my head, which would be snacks would be easy. Actually, the empanadas and things like that, you would definitely heat that much, but we have like the sweet snacks and brownies and things like that when I think of especially the desserts, and those would not, I can't think of too many that you'd want to heat. So anyway, moving on, 165. So that's what you want to go for. Again, it's up to you whether or not you want to offer cold items. Definitely once this is blown over, highly suggest it for technicians. But in any case, speaking of cold items, let's talk really cold. While freezing doesn't really affect this virus, they actually, I read or heard somewhere, I heard somewhere that it, trying to remember where, but it's not important. 2 years in freezing temperatures, this thing can survive. So freezing will not kill it. I mean, when they keep these things in labs, aren't they under like liquid nitrogen, which is probably like negative 265 degrees or something crazy like that. So from what I understand, that doesn't kill it, but freezing is great for people who are storing these meals, and that might be something that's important to them. So you might want to adapt your menu or certain items on your menu with the intention that they will be frozen in someone's freezer for, just in case situations. As the shopping situation becomes more bleak, as people start going through the supplies that they do have, there were people who were willing to shop yesterday who are not willing to shop today. So this is going to continue to change and evolve. Every single day, it feels like we get this sense, this illusion of a normalcy, of us finding like the plateau where it's like, okay, this is how it is for a while. And then the next day it's like, oh, it's getting worse. So this is going to continue to change. There's more people who are going to come to you because of, the fears of shopping, and they're going to need other options, and freezing might be the most affordable, solution for them. So if you're thinking about, soups and stews that you could put in a quart, something that would freeze very well, you want to make sure it's not one of those situations where it's going to expand and shatter the container, and then they can't reheat it, because as soon as they reheat it, it'd be leaking through the container. So do some research. It really comes down to, really comes down to the resins, the type of plastics, and what it's made out of. So there's different materials out there, and I would do some tests and see what happens. Plastic obviously becomes very rigid when it freezes, and then ice makes things expand. So especially when you're thinking of like a soup container, I know I've seen some of those shatter before in freezers. So that was something that we were doing some R&D on. But also the meals as well, not just soups and stews, although those are great. You can, choose around what ingredients that you put in the item for stuff that's going to freeze and reheat well. Even though you don't intend for the meals to be frozen, now knowing that more people are going to be doing that, if someone has to eat your meal 4 weeks from now or 2 months from now from the freezer, wouldn't it be awesome if it's still something that is enjoyable even 2 months from now? Maybe brightens their day up. Maybe they, finally got through all their peanut butter and jellies for 3 weeks nonstop, rice, beans, peanut butter and jelly, some boring stuff. Now they're getting into the freezer meals and they actually enjoy your meal instead of, only being able to eat half of it because you put broccoli in it or something that doesn't translate well. So think about that. Food is such an important thing. Like if a good meal can turn around a really shitty day. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of levels to the service that we provide, from the customer service to the product itself. There's so many different facets. So like think about really how deep. Some people won't notice, they won't consider it that much of an impact. But if one person, if like 6 months from now, maybe they're eating this stuff frozen. I have stuff in my fridge or my freezer from forever ago, excuse me. But months from now, imagine one person, having their day made a little bit brighter because of that, knowing they could be facing anything at that point. So those are some things to consider. Definitely make sure that your product is going to be something that is going to suit the purpose that your member is purchasing it for. Now, a lot of people are going to instinctively start wanting to push bulk items. If people ask for bulk items, start coming up with an idea, maybe adjust the pricing if you want to. I would warn you against bulk, and both in a term of prepaid and just selling in large quantities for freezer meals. With that, you won't have the residual. So from a business standpoint, you won't have that residual relationship. They're basically going to stock up their freezer and then they might forget who you are. So it wouldn't be something that I would push necessarily or advertise, because you want, ideally, when your business, for your business to survive this and, be good on the other side, you want to establish relationships that will continually be using your service, engaging with you, and be opportunities for more referrals. If you're engaging with someone every week and you're helping them through this, they're going to be more likely to refer people rather than some guy who just loaded up his freezers and now he's eating his food with his family by himself and not really telling too many people about it. Not to say not to offer that. Definitely offer it to them, and I would definitely do the math and figure out a way that you can make it more affordable for them if you want, while still making sure that your profit is covered. But again, it wouldn't be the business model that I base this off of. So anytime you don't want to be in this area and you want to be in this area, like the closer you are to this is normally not going to behoove you. So if you want to, offer it, it exists, but you stay over here with this area of the screen's kind of funny. I'll address that later. But you guys get the point. Don't push it, make it available. I wouldn't put it on the site. I wouldn't put it in an ad, but if someone calls for it, but then again, I don't know your situation. If you're just starting off, any revenue that you're getting might be something that you need in a dire situation that you might be in. You might have just gotten off the ground and then this took a big hit. I know some people said they had about 50% reduction in orders after an initial pop. We experienced that too. We had a good week kind of when this was first making impact. It went up despite our website issues and everything else that was going on. But then the next week it was significantly down. Last 2 weeks, significantly down. I don't know how this week's going to go. We shall see. Let's see. Bulk. Yeah, so bulk will kill for future sales. Kind of already went over that. Got a little list here. Working remote. This is something that we didn't really get a lot of time to speak about it in the office, and I've got some ideas I want to kind of run by everybody, and we're probably going to test it maybe Wednesday if tomorrow goes well. And this is going to be letting all these guys, they're not here right now in this picture, but we're going to try to work from home. It is harder to have people stay on focus. It takes a very special individual to be able to be in a home environment and still stay focused as much as you would be in an office environment with a bunch of other people, all focusing on the same task, kind of watching each other, feeling that, peer pressure to, do your calls, do your work and everything. So it's going to be tricky. Now, what's going to help is modern tech. Tech makes it easier than ever before to do this. So I come from, some of you don't know, in my background, I'm among firefighting and mortgages and insurance and all sorts of other stuff not related to food. That makes me no way qualified to do what I do now. I was in call centers, and I'm familiar with the general idea of how to set up an office, how to make it portable. And what we have here, what you'll see on this desk right here, you can see my ghost finger going in and out. That's an IP phone. So what's cool about those phones is they basically have kind of like their own, they have their own IP address. So when a phone is unplugged from this wall and I plug it into any other internet connection, you can call the same number and it'll ring. The same extension and everything goes to that phone. So it's kind of like a cell phone. No matter where you move your cell phone, you call whatever your cell phone number is, that phone is going to ring. Whether you're in Ohio or Florida or whatever else, it's that phone's unique number. So this is just kind of that, but you need a Cat5 cable to connect it because it's not a cell phone. It's still landline. But we're going to have some of the guys take the phones home. Some are going to try using soft phones. So this would be considered a hard phone. Soft phones, like software, are when you have it, on your screen. I recommend having a headset like this, and some get even nicer, but this is at least something basic that you would be able to take calls on. And that's one of the alternatives if you don't want to deal with moving the physical unit back and forth, or whatever the reason is. The other alternative is a lot of phones now, a lot of the VoIP providers. Oh, you can't even see my phone. It's invisible. You can't even see my arm. A lot of the VoIP, here it is. A lot of the VoIP providers, I don't know, I was showing you a cell phone. You guys know what cell phones are. A lot of the VoIP providers have soft phone apps, so you can actually turn your phone, or do call forwarding, that's another option, but you can actually turn your phone into another one of these extensions. What's cool about that, using the app, you can have the same forwarding abilities. So not only do these guys have their different extensions, but then also, like, I might pick up a call and be like, hey, yeah, I wanted to talk to Justin. I need to transfer that to Justin now. If I'm doing it through call forwarding, I wouldn't be able to do that without, hanging up or like dialing him in or something like that. It makes it a lot easier if you were to use the app. The phone system we currently use is CallSprout. I could definitely hook you up with them. The owner is actually a member. Actually, he was. I got to see if he's got any orders, hound him for some orders. But they're local here in Florida. We were on a company called Ring Central. Some of you may be familiar with them. I've used them in call centers before. They are awesome, but this guy's cheaper. I think they cut the bill in half, and I don't have to use the software as much as I used to. So I will say, Ring Central is known for all these widgets and stuff that they throw at it. But if you don't need all those bells and whistles, and you guys don't, not at this level, CallSprout is great. If you call our 800 number, or I think if you call the 561 number, it works too. But we've got Christopher Walken as a recording. They helped us set all that stuff up. Not that you couldn't get that somewhere else, but they were definitely part of helping us set that up, because we were a little confused and just really excited that we could do it. So if you call, it's Christopher Walken who picks up the phone, and goes through like press, 1 for this, press 2 for this. And we wrote some funny stuff for him to say. So it's kind of funny. But that's a separate thing we had to have recorded. Anyway, that's probably more customer service and branding thing. So I went off on a little bit of a tangent. But in any case, IP phones, tech, that's how it works. Now, one of the things that we're going to be doing to help our team stay focused and to also be able to see who's on the phone, so I don't try to transfer something to Justin when he's already on the phone with somebody. We're going to try to have like a Google Hangout or maybe a Zoom meeting, but basically have everybody's webcams on, watching everybody. We'd all be able to see what each other are doing. I'll set up a fun little background like this. I've actually got another one I want to set up, and I'll switch to that right now. Let's see if I can do it. So I'm going to be rocking this. I'm very excited about that. I'm a child. If you guys know the background, you know. So CRM, again, tech, the CRM is going to allow us to, CRM's a client relationship manager. I've got some other videos on CRMs. It's going to be the backbone of your business if you don't have one yet. We use Hubspot currently. There's another one that I haven't had enough chance to play with, but it looks crazy. There's so much stuff. I love HubSpot because they do have their own training. They have their own academy, all these videos, and some sales training and customer service training, some other good stuff like that, which is awesome when you start hiring people and you want to give them a basic foundation, and then you just kind of add in your 10% of what you do unique in your company, the general concepts of sales and training and all that other stuff. What else is great about it is handles all your note taking, can automate emails and texts and all other processes and workflows and all sorts of other stuff. But for this purpose, it's going to allow us to see what everybody's doing. I can see an activity feed on every one of my employees. If I see an hour gap, in the middle of the day, and there's no explanation as to why there's no notes and there's just an hour of nothing there, I know they were probably messing around. So between the webcam being on and being able to watch everybody and then being able to watch their notes, we're going to probably have a pretty decent, big brother kind of feeling. Now, if we had to do this for a year, probably have to implement some other stuff, some other KPIs. KPIs is key performance indicators. It's basically a report of, like, a sales KPI would have, how many leads you received versus how many you closed versus how many are in this status versus how many deals went through, the amount of deals, like all those kind of efforts. KPI would be tracking those metrics. So your KPI, you could build one for the kitchen and, waste and even customer service and satisfaction reviews and all sorts of other stuff. But KPIs would be an effective way at monitoring your team. And even with the team in the office, you should have KPIs, but they'd be even more detrimental if you're having your team work remotely, which is definitely an option. So delegation, that is, and these are in no order whatsoever other than the order that it came to my head. Delegation is probably going to be one of the more important things, because you want to make sure that everything's covered when you're in the office. When you're in certain environments, I'm big on habits and psychology and stuff like that. And I was doing some research for a course that I wanted to create on habit training and stuff like that. And your environment is so important. And there's things that you'll just forget to do, even though you're doing the same job. It's more possible to forget something that you do every single day just because you're not in that environment. And that is one thing that's going to be crucial when you go to remote working, is the delegation and making sure that there's a way, without having to micromanage people and put more time or too much. You'll probably have to put more time into this, but you don't want to have to put too much time into just watching and making sure people are doing their job, because that sucks. It's a miserable task to perform, unless you can see that people are pretty consistent out the gate. Delegation and some forward thinking ahead of the situation, and having that transparency of, okay, you're doing this, I'm doing this, you're doing this, delegating properly. This week, we're basically going to plan out everything. Tomorrow, I'm hoping that we can plan out a schedule for everything that we're going to be doing and just have double coverage on everything initially. where myself, my business partner, and one of our managers is probably going to be, just double checking everything. Thursday, we're going to be back in the office. Those are pickup days. Mondays and Thursdays are our pickup days. So we have members who come to the office and get food. We figured that would be enough time. It would limit our exposure to each other, even though I know that one day together twice a week is still going to be, pretty considerable exposure. My hopes are that it limits our exposure to the point where maybe someone can avoid, and we're also thinking about splitting shifts too. So we'd have maybe 3 guys come in one day, 3 guys come in the other day. So on Monday, not really crazy anymore. So we could have 3 people in the office, 2 or 3, and then Thursday, another 2 or 3. And yeah, just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Nothing's falling through the cracks. If you have a bigger team, you're going to want to probably assign people to follow up with other people. Our team's not too big, so we don't have to do that yet. But one thing I learned in the Fire Academy is span of control. Recommended span of control is about 2 to 3 people. I'm sorry, 3 to 4 people under somebody. So 3 to 4 people is about the max where you can really be effective and efficient in heated situations. It's hard to keep track of more people than that, and things become less efficient. There might be someone who's not doing enough, somebody who's overworked and it's going underlooked or undernoticed. Sorry, I told you, very long month. I think I told you that. Maybe that was another video. Did another video earlier today. Any case, delegation is going to be imperative when working remote. I think I covered a lot of stuff, probably to the point of redundancy, but these things are crucial. There's not a lot that you can control in this situation, so it's imperative that even the little things that seem menial and trivial aren't overlooked, and you kind of want to dumb it down, go through the motions, go through those days, and you're like, okay, at this time on a Tuesday, I would do this. After I do that, I do this. This is the process. At that time, I alert logistics, and this is part of the system. With the CRM, with Hubspot, and I'd love to do some training videos if you guys are interested. I'll show you, like I said, there's plenty of information in their database, but I can show you some stuff that is probably applicable to more than just HubSpot, just automation features and things like that. HubSpot and Zapier, I'm pretty good with automating a lot of stuff. So I can help you guys, keep things from falling through the cracks. If that's something that you're interested in, maybe I'll do some, videos or a live seminar and walk you guys through that stuff. But the CRM is going to be imperative to everything you do, especially if you're going to go remote. Getting through this situation, we're relying on our CRM for so much stuff that I couldn't imagine doing this even at a much smaller scale without it, because we're having to note people who are on alternate deliveries, but only temporarily. We have people who are, bouncing around where they're like, on Thursday I'm at work, on Mondays I'm going to be at home, all sorts of stuff. I've, set an alert for members who are high risk based on health history or their age, and we want to give double coverage to them to make sure that their orders are in, their deliveries are accurate, on time, and successful. So all these things we rely on the CRM to do, make everything easier. The search capabilities, filters, and all that. I highly suggest, if you're not using a CRM yet, get on one. I like HubSpot. We've used many. HubSpot is pretty awesome. Like I said, I can't speak highly enough for the HubSpot Academy, they call it, with all the video training courses and certifications that you can have your team member do. We came from Insightly, which is very affordable, probably a lot cheaper than HubSpot, but it also doesn't do anywhere near as much stuff. And they didn't have the Academy back when we were with them. I don't have any reason to believe they have one now. I don't know, maybe they do. The other one that I was looking at was Zoho. Zoho is crazy. Like, if you're on my level of like digging in and tinkering with stuff and kind of Frankensteining a bunch of different apps and plugins and webhooks together, Zoho is where it's at. Otherwise, HubSpot is an amazing piece of software, and I think it'd be very beneficial. So, done enough. I'm not even making money off of HubSpot. Someone should hook me up with a job at HubSpot. But I hope that stuff was helpful for you guys. Again, if there's anything that you guys are doing that I haven't mentioned, any other considerations, I would love to know about them so I can share them and help some other people. There's a lot of opportunities to help people out right now. But I'm going to let you guys go. Make sure you subscribe and hit the alerts. If this is your first time, obviously hit the links in the show notes. Sorry that I was so tired and probably droned on, but I wanted to get a video out to you guys. Don't judge me by this one and the crazy backgrounds. This is the first time I tried this. It was a lot of fun. It's covering up a mess. Watch this. My fiance would be pissed if I showed you this. She won't see this though. None. So this is her storage room where she's got boxes. She does e-commerce. This is all like the packaging so her stuff doesn't get all messed up. She's really embarrassed by it. And then like hiding behind that is like her doctorate and college stuff. And so it's just funny. I love it though. I think this is cool. That represents some hard work and creativity. But in any case, check out the links. Definitely check out my other videos. Reach out to me through the links, the ebook in the links, the private group in the links, the bootcamp in the links, consultation in the links. Just check out all that stuff. It'll get you to me one way or the other. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.